guys, welcome back to my channel. Since this is Halloween, I thought that I would just get on here tonight. Since I have told you guys about some other people's ghost stories, I figured I would get on here tonight and actually tell you a few of my own. I think I've probably talked about some of these in some other videos, but if you're new here, welcome to my channel. So I'm just gonna share a few stories with you guys, and hopefully you guys like it. Don't get scared. If you get scared at any point in time, you can turn this video off. I promise you they're not going to be that scary though. So when we first moved into the community that we live in now, we lived in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. And it was crazy because when we first moved in, I didn't notice anything weird going on in our home. And then when I met my husband, he moved in, and then some strange things started happening after that. So we would just hear like kind of weird noises, and then we had an issue where our TV would cut on and off by itself, to the point where you'd actually have to, before you went to bed, you'd say, I'm turning this TV off, don't turn it back on. So that's one thing that happened in this first apartment that we lived in. Then one night I was laying in the bed. We were both laying in the bed. Lamar was asleep. I had gotten up to go to the kitchen because let me just tell you, I'm really bad about getting up in the middle of the night and going eating. It's a habit like I'm really trying to break, but I used to get up and go eat in the middle of the night. So I had gotten up, I had went to go eat. I had been up for probably 30 to 45 minutes, so I was wide awake at this point in time. I go and get back in the bed. I literally had just laid down probably like 5-10 minutes, and then all of a sudden I feel this pressure like on my feet, and I was like, that's weird. Now I don't think we had Stella, our dog, at the time, so I felt this pressure on my foot, and I was like, that's weird. You know, Lamar is passed out beside me. So I just kind of laid there for a second, and then like this pressure started getting heavier and heavier, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I was too scared to open my eyes. Something told me, don't open your eyes, just pray. So I was sitting there, and all I could think of was just to say Jesus' name like over and over and over. That's how scared I was. So I'm laying there, and I'm just like, Jesus, 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 Jesus. And this pressure gets heavier, and it feels like it's literally pushing me into the bed. And at this point in time, I'm like about to start crying because I'm so scared, you know. And I would just continue to say Jesus' name, and then something just continued to tell me not to open my eyes. So I just laid there saying Jesus' name, and then all of a sudden this pressure like lifts off of me. And it was like I could breathe, you know, and that's when the pressure, like after about 2 minutes, the pressure just went full force, and it felt like I was being pushed down into the bed. You know those scary movies where people are being like pushed into the bed? That's what I felt like. I felt like I was like literally sinking into the bed. I couldn't move, like even with my hand, I was like trying to reach over and touch Lamar, but I couldn't move my hand enough to actually reach over to him. So I just continued to pray, and then after probably like, I would say 5 more minutes of this extreme pressure, it just released. And it was like, I just felt like I like lifted up out of the bed a little bit, and something just told me, don't open your eyes, just pretend like it didn't happen. So I don't know if that was God or what, but I just rolled over like nothing even happened. And I think like I didn't really tell a whole bunch of people after that. I told Lamar, but I just kind of kept it silent because people are going to look at you like you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I know what I experienced. It was extremely scary. So that was probably one of the scariest things that happened there at that apartment. So then we decide we got too much crap. You know what I'm saying? Like we need a bigger place. Or I had went and toured an apartment, and I went to Lamar and I was like, hey, look, can we go get this apartment, you know? And he was like, yeah, that's, we can do that. So we move into where we're living now. So everything seemed like fine at first. I didn't feel uncomfortable. But then soon after we were here, really weird things started happening. So once again, the TVs would turn on and off, would turn on. And it was just one of those you buy, we went through like a couple of TVs, I think. So it's not the TV because these are multiple TVs. So, but the TVs would still turn back on. So, it's not the television, So we went to New Orleans. And I wanted to talk to a psychic, and I told Lamar, I said, I'm not even going to tell her anything when I go in there. I'm just going to say yes or no. So I go in, she's telling me all the stuff that nobody would know except for me and like Lamar or my close family. And I just continued to say yes or no. I wouldn't elaborate on anything. So then at the end of my session, she said, do you have any more questions? And I said, no. And I stood up and she went to go stand up and she grabbed my wrist. And when she did this, the feeling I can't explain that went through my body. And then she kind of leaned into me and she said, they're not here to scare you. They just want to talk to you. And it instantly, I started squalling. The tear, like I was boohoo, like ugly face crying, guys. Like I was just squalling. And she looked at me and said, you know what I'm talking about? And I said, yes. And so she said, sit down. I want to talk to you. So we sat there and talked, and she told me that spirits are drawn to people like me. I didn't know that I was like this beacon for, ghosts or spirits. She said that they're drawn to certain people because they know that we can sense them, I guess. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm like a lighthouse for ghosts, So then she told me they're not here to hurt you, but sometimes that there are some bad spirits that will come in. So she told me, sorry, this lash, you guys. So she told me when you feel a negative spirit to say, I had already saged like our apartments before, but she told me to sage and then take the sage all the way down to the sidewalk and tell them that they are not welcome here. So when she explained it, she said, I want you to go out of your house, go down the stairs, go to the street, and tell them they're not welcome. And that right there kind of struck me because I was like, oh my God, she knows that we live upstairs. That was not a detail that I had told her. We live on the second floor. So that kind of just confirmed to me. There was a lot of things that she told me that confirmed to me that it was real. That it was true. So one night we were laying in bed and like when you close your door, you can still see the light, like from the hallway or whatever, like around your door frame. So we're laying in bed and I see a shadow pass by the door. And I told Lamar, I said, something just walked past the door. And when you go right past our door, there's literally a wall right there. And I said, something just walked past the door. And he was like, oh, no, there's nothing. There's nobody in here. There's nothing. So the next day, he was on early morning shift. So he had to get up at like 4 something. I think he had to be at work at like 5. So he had gotten up. He had went, got dressed, and was going to walk out the door. And he realized that he had forgotten his keys. So he turned around to go back to get them. And every cabinet door, every drawer in our kitchen was open. So he wakes me up out of the bed and said, I need you to come deal with this. So I walked in. It really didn't surprise me because, like I said, I had seen it the night before. I had seen something walk past the door. So I knew something, was up there. I knew that I had seen something. So yeah, that was another thing. And then one night we were laying in bed and I was laying on my stomach and I didn't have a cover over my back. And then I felt, all I can explain was a hand touch my back. And the best way for me to describe it was if you put metal in the freezer and it froze. If you put metal in the freezer for like a day and it was that cold, that's what it felt like when whatever it was touched my back. And I jumped straight up out of the bed, and I think it startled Lamar, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Something just touched my back." Baby, when I tell you, I went to my beauty room, got my Bible, and slept with my Bible the rest of the night. But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't really fear it too much, but sometimes some scary things do happen. Those are times when I just have to have faith, and, talking to that psychic, she, kind of told me what to do when I'm in those situations. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it's short, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys some stories about some things that have personally happened to me with the supernatural side. A lot of people have told me that they've seen little orbs and stuff in my videos. So if you're watching my videos, you will probably see like an orb. They seem to show up on camera. Like, I don't see anything when I'm filming, but then when I go to playback or edit it, they'll be like floating in, and sometimes I don't even see them. Like, sometimes I'm so like preoccupied with editing, I don't even see them. But then other people will tell me like, "Hey, there was an orb that floated, through your video." So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.